Hi guys, Brant here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today we're going to be talking about a solution to a lot of DBD's problems that was proposed by a content creator that I think is going to be very helpful in mitigating not only one big issue, that being the immense slowdown stacking that's happening on Killer, but also gen efficiency as a whole, healing efficiency as a whole, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the idea proposed is an idea proposed by Vampire Toothy, mostly plays Killer over on the Twitch end of things, although they're taking a break for now. They proposed an idea that we introduce the efficiency penalty, also known as the diminishing returns penalty. Now, if you don't know what an efficiency penalty is, that is something that already exists in the game. The efficiency penalty is something that is applied as survivors begin to stack on gens in groups. So if you didn't know this, every single time you go onto a generator in Dead by Daylight, you are suffering an efficiency penalty. You are suffering a minus 15% to your gen speed for every person that stacks on this gen, up to a total of 45%, minus 45% if you have 4 people on one gen on all sides. The mentality with this is that stacking on gens, in theory, is incredibly powerful and still is, so to help mitigate the strength of that and try to not make it as cheesy as possible, they have a built-in diminishing return as more people get on the gen. That way, this thing that's supposed to be efficient doesn't just end up being this really cheesy effect that kind of plows the gen super quickly. So they have this diminishing return of 15% for each person that stacks on, so the gens don't fly off the shelves just because multiple people are stacking on. Why? Because that's an incredibly easy thing to do and doesn't really require a lot of inherent skill to just sit on a gen together. So to reward that wouldn't make much sense, so they've introduced this efficiency penalty and has been in the game forever. So this concept already exists in the game. What Toothy is recommending is that we extend this efficiency penalty to the perks in the game. So for example, if you're running Thanatophobia, which makes the gens go slower, it gives you that nice, very stingent red bar that's making the gens go slower, and then you run Hex Penimento, which if you get 1 stack of that also makes the red bar happen and make the gen go even slower. That would happen with a diminishing return. So essentially they would get less efficiency because you're applying the same effect twice. Just like when you're stacking on a gen, you're effectively, applying the same gen twice by stacking multiple survivors on it. So if you're stacking the same effect, it has a diminishing return. That would happen with Penimento and Thana because they're both slowing the gen speed down, so the diminishing returns would kick in and make that not as effective. I imagine this would also extend to kicking, so if you had Pop, Call O'Brien, and Overcharge, obviously those 3 would have diminishing returns up to 3. And this will also fix a lot of other issues in the game, like gen efficiency, like if the gen is under multiple effects of being sped up by like Prove and a toolbox, diminishing returns. If you have the healing situation where somebody's trying to like super speed heal in 2 seconds, you like let's say you're running like a green medkit, desperate measures, and botany knowledge, diminishing returns. DBD for the most part has been doing a really good job of trying to kind of mitigate the cheese of the game, but I feel like the one thing that I have kind of like noticed and am unhappy with the mid-chapter changes, despite mostly liking them, is that it kind of seems like it's almost not easier, it's less effective, but it's easier to just stack perks and cheese the game. Like, Thana and Penimento doesn't really, especially Thana, doesn't really require any much of like input on your end to make go bird, despite how effective it is. And same thing with like just like stacking on healing perks and a green medkit and all that. Like none of these things require any inherent skill to do. Just like we talked about at the beginning with the gen efficiency penalty that already exists in the game, it doesn't really take any skill to hop on a gen together. So the game knows that. So behavior applied, the efficiency penalty based on how many people are on it, but it also doesn't take any skill to bring 3 slowdowns into a match that don't require a lot of input. Then it just happens as you injure people, which is what you're going to be doing anyway. Scourge Hook Pain Res, besides Scourge Hooks being maybe out of the way for you, you're going to be hooking people anyway. It's not that difficult. Like, you're getting so much value for basically doing nothing. Same thing with like those super cheesy heal builds. It's like, just because you brought in an item and a couple perks, now you're just going to heal in like 2 seconds after I lose you in chase? That's crazy. Like, these things aren't inherently skillful. These things aren't, there's nothing crazy, there's no crazy play that you're making happen here, but you're getting an immense effect. So while these changes have taken away some of the most like overpowered and excessive things in the game, it is a lot easier to achieve what I would consider cheese in the game, which is just kind of like free pressure, whether that be on the gens or against the gens or whatever. It's just easier to achieve cheese in this game, and if we introduce an efficiency penalty or diminishing returns to these things like we already have on stacking on gens, or that already exists in the game, I feel like a lot of this more annoying stuff that exists in the new meta would just go away. Like we wouldn't have to cap heal speeds. That'd be handled. You wouldn't have to worry about triple quad slowdown gamers. That'd be handled. And you wouldn't have to worry about gen rushers. That's handled. Like it solves a lot of problems in the game. So yeah, unless I'm missing something, this seems like the thing to do. Also, it's probably not tremendously hard to implement because, like we've been pointing out throughout the video, this system already exists for gen stacking in the game. So they already know how to do this, how to code this. So it's in there. You just got to apply that to the perks. So yeah. So what do you think, guys? Do you think that the efficiency penalty, also known as the diminishing returns idea, will be good for the game, or do you think this would actually harm things? Let me know down in the comments below. But this could be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's video, friends. But if I don't, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.